Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Ingrid Durham, member of the Friends of the Library and co-leader of the library's cookbook club. Well, we can't meet this month, and I was going to do a demonstration on using the Instant Pot, so we decided I'd do it from home. I love my Instant Pot. It really cuts down on things, on time. It's great if you're really, if you work and you're really busy, so you can come home, you can throw some things in there and have a fresh hot meal in just a small amount of time compared to if you were to do everything on the stove or in the oven or what have you. The book I'm using today is How to Instant Pot by Daniel Shumski. I downloaded it onto Hoopla. There's a very basic recipe in here. It'll get you started, but of course you can adapt it any way that you'd like. Well, I've got my mise en place here, which means everything in its place. It's good to have everything you need set out so you don't forget something. We've got arborio rice, which is the main part of the risotto. It's a short grain rice, and it lets off a lot of starch, which helps you get that creamy sauce. I dug in my freezer and I found some homemade chicken stock. Getting a little low here with supplies. I've got a little salt, pepper, shallot. The recipe doesn't call for it, but it gives it a wonderful flavor. Shallot is a type of onion, but it's sweeter, and you have to use less of it than you would a normal onion. And then I've got some Parmesan cheese that I'm going to shred, and we're going to add that later when it's done cooking, because you really don't want to cook cheese in the Instant Pot. It doesn't work very well. So to start out, we're going to, here's my Instant Pot, and I'm going to plug it in. All right. When you plug it in, comes up, says off. We're going to start out doing a saute function, and we're going to saute the shallots, but first I have to cut them up. So I'm just going to cut it like in thirds. I'm going to just do a nice fine dice. Okay. Curling my fingers in to make sure I don't cut my fingers. Okay, I've turned to my Instant Pot to saute because we're going to get the onion started first. Now this recipe calls for, I'm not doing the full recipe today, but you would normally use a half a stick, and I'm actually going to use probably 2 tablespoons. Now you don't have to use butter. This is actually vegan butter because I'm allergic to dairy, but you can use olive oil or any other kind of oil. Is melting. Stir a little bit, make sure that it doesn't burn. And once it's all melted, you can hear it sizzle there. We will throw in the shallots, and not more than 2 minutes. We don't want them to brown. We just want them to soften a bit. Okay, I'm going to throw my shallots in there. And like I said, this was, one bulb of shallot. Once those soften, then what I've got here is, so I did a couple tablespoons of butter, or you could use olive oil, as I said, or any other, and I've got about 1.5 cups of arborio rice. This is going to give me about 6 servings as a side dish. If you want to do it as a main dish, you're going to probably get 3, maybe 4 servings. You can make it a main dish by adding peas or mushrooms or anything that you really like. So, let's see how this is doing. I wish you could smell this. They have a lovely smell. And being that I can smell them and I'm seeing a little bit of yellowing, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my rice. Now what you want to do here is you want to coat all of the rice with your butter or oil, and you want to cook it a little bit until the grains, that's where it become opaque. Okay. Now the other thing you want to do is, it's a good idea to heat your stock beforehand. You can do it without heating it, but then it's going to take longer to cook. So if you don't heat it, it's going to take maybe 7 minutes, and if you heat it first, it's going to be about 5. So I'm going to heat this a little bit more in the microwave while I wait for my rice to get ready. As this risotto is sauteing, it starts to get a nutty kind of smell to it. So now normally when you make risotto, once you get the rice to that opaque stage, then you're going to deglaze the pan, right? That's to get anything that might have stuck, stir it on up, get all that good flavor off the bottom. And traditional recipes, you're going to use a little bit of white wine to do that. But you don't have to. And today we're just going to do all chicken stock. So I'm going to pour a little bit of the chicken stock in there, deglaze the pan, and when I'm sure that everything is scraped up and ready to go, then I'll pour the rest of the stock in. And also a bit of, I'm going to hold off, and we'll probably add the seasoning, salt and pepper a little bit later when I take it out. So you want to season to taste, because you're never sure. Now my stock, I might throw a little, my stock is unsalted because I made it myself. But if you're using a stock or broth that's salted, you're going to want to wait until after to put in the salt, because you don't want to over season. You want to get it too salty. And the nice thing about using your own stock or using no salt added stock is it's great if you have dietary issues in the home. Pour in a little bit of the stock. Listen for the sizzle and watch the steam. Now if you look, because of the starch content, if you look in here, you can immediately see that it's got a bit of creaminess to it. So you can see that it's kind of a white looking sauce already. And that's just from deglazing. I've got a little bit of brownness in there. Okay, so I'm going to pour the rest of that in there. Give it a quick stir. And at this point now, I'm going to put on the lid. And we want to make sure that it's in the sealing position, because if it's not in the sealing position, it's not going to be able to get the pressure up. So we're going to hit cancel. So now we turned off the saute method, and we're going to pressure cook, and we're going to set it for 5 minutes. That's it. If you're cooking on the stove, it's usually going to take 20. All you have to do is pressure cook time, and it's going to tell you that it's started. Now it says on. Now it's not going to take 5 minutes from the time that you press the pressure cook button. It has to build up the pressure first. Once the pressure is built up, then it's going to take 5 minutes until the cooking is done. Okay, if you take a look, we've got steam starting to come out of the vent. So it's going to be it's coming up to pressure, a little steam is coming out. It should be starting the 5 minute time very soon. Okay, the Instant Pot is up to full pressure. The timer's starting at 5 minutes, and it'll be counting down. Once it counted down all the way, then it basically goes, notice it says keep warm. That's just so that as soon as it's done cooking, it goes into keep warm mode, so that if you don't get to it right away, it's not going to get cold on you. All right, we are done. So now we want to do a quick release. You can do a slow release, but in this case, we don't want the risotto is best, thank you, as soon as it's cooked. So we're going to just use my, it's very hot, the steam, so I'm going to come this way here. Okay, just about done venting. Give it another few seconds, and then we can go ahead and open it up and see what we've got. All right, let's take a look. Can you see how creamy this is? And the longer it sits, that it'll start to get drier. Okay, I'm going to put in some fresh ground pepper. And then I'm going to give it a taste to see what the salt level is like. Okay, it needs a little bit of salt. Got a little kosher salt here. Just going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. take some out because I can't have the dairy. So I'm going to put some in a bowl for me. And then I'm going to add the cheese for the rest of the family. So, isn't that beautiful? All right. I'm actually going to turn it off. Just press cancel because I don't want it to continue to heat. And I shredded about 3/4 cup of fresh Parmesan, and I put some mozzarella in there. I've got about a cup of cheese here. You can use anything you want, but the Italian cheeses tend to be what's used. You could use, Pecorino Romano or any mixture that you want. Pad grabber here. Okay, take a look at this. This is beautiful. Creamy, silky, ready for dinner. So thanks for joining me. I hope you try risotto in your Instant Pot and love it as much as I do. See ya.